I have a fancy microphone holder now. It's not that fancy. It was like $5, but I was able to customize it with my logo that is just a piece of cardboard. We're not actually fancy here. Hello everyone and welcome back to what I want to call kind of like an old school style video. I really miss the old days. I miss the 2017 like come chill with me, let's tell stories and stuff. So I am coming at you with a cosplay storytime video just like in the old days. And I'm filming in a new part of my room because my desk is really messy. Don't worry about it. Don't mind this part. But you get to see like my figurines and everything. So that I feel like that might be fun. Anyway, I have a huge backlog of cosplay stories dating back from last year. I took stock of all the stories that I wanted to tell and I wrote them all down. But obviously, since last year was last year, it was not great. I never got to actually sit down and tell them to you. So we're just going to pick and choose a few stories that circle around a theme. And the theme is the true meaning of cosplay. Basically, these stories very much feel like those classic Christmas movies where the protagonist is like,
what even is the point of Christmas? It's so corporate and, capitalism, and I don't even want to, but I do want to. I'm so lost. What do I do?
And then, like, a dancing elf comes and teaches them the true meaning of Christmas or something to that effect. That's kind of the theme of these stories. There was this little one-day convention local to me. It was out in the city of Richmond, and it was called Van City Anime Fest. I found out about it through a friend because the event had put out a post looking for cosplay judges, and I thought, you know what, like, why not? This was this event's first year, first time ever being an event. I love fostering our little one-day events here in Vancouver. We have so many like lovingly run little one-day events like Haramatsuri, Mini Kami, SFU Summerfest. Like, they're all super good. The big events suck, but the little events that are run with like heart and soul and like genuine love of the game, that's what I'm here for. So I'm like, yeah, I'll apply. We'll see if they accept me. I'd love to check out this event, if anything. I did get accepted as a judge, but then right when I was accepted, my health started to be all over the place. My ankle, if you didn't know, I broke my ankle back in last August. So every so often, my ankle will be like,
what's up, girl? It's time for some pain. Let's ache a little.
And I'm like,
I'd like to be able to walk, please.
So that was happening. I was having a litany of health issues right when I got accepted to be a judge. So unfortunately I had to back out, but I still wanted to go to this event. And my friend Amy, we had made plans for her to come over to hang out with me, a little like slumber party girls weekend, and we would go to this event. And since she is very good at craftsmanship, her sewing, amazing, I suggested her as a replacement judge and she got accepted. I felt like I had it within my capabilities of like showing up to the event in a cosplay, but like I'd have to go at whatever my own pace was. So I didn't feel comfortable having to have like a specific role that required me to stay at the event all day. I wanted to have that kind of flexibility of like, she could do her judging, I could go to a cafe and just kind of like disassociate in the background at the convention, just like a cryptid in the background, just like. And that's pretty much what happened. I was like, what if I just brought all of my beading supplies? Because if you didn't know, I love to make friendship bracelets. I have one right here. This is my Ragatha one. She's probably backwards. Yes, she is. I like to make little friendship bracelets like these and give them out at conventions. And typically I have a bunch of them pre-made, but like obviously since I had health issues like leading up to this event, and I also didn't know what anime were going to be represented there. So I decided I'll just bring all of my beads so that I can, disassociation cryptid in the background, just kind of make little bracelets and give them out like a mysterious little Miku cryptid. So we show up to the event. We were both Miku. I was Little Red Miku, and then Amy was Heart Hunter Miku. We got to be Mikus together, which was really cute. She's doing her thing. She's killing it. She's doing an amazing job coordinating this contest, interacting with the attendees. Now, the attendees, this is where the true meaning of cosplay comes into it. This event, it was obviously a smaller event, but the turnout was really quite impressive, like for a first time event. But everyone was super happy to be there. The vibes were immaculate. The staff was so nice. Like the con staff, like it is pretty much run by one lady, and she is such a superstar, and you could tell that she does this like for love of the game, and she was so kind to like everyone and just like a really fun person. And then the other ladies working at registration, like there was a time when I just like walked by to go to the bathroom and they were like, you look really nice. And I was like, thank you. Like it was so, oh, okay. But I have to talk about the attendees at this event because it was primarily families with their young children, and the kids like skewed very young. Like you have to picture there are these families who have maybe like a couple or a few kids. All the kids are dressed up. The mom is proudly taking photos. The kids, most of them were kind of like preteens. There were like obviously some teenagers, but like I'm talking like 15 and under, and then some very, very small kids like dressed as like shinobu. Like there was this one family and it was the dad with his two daughters, and one looked maybe like 8, the other one maybe about 10, and they were cosplaying like Shinobu and her sister from Demon Slayer. Like it was so sweet. It was like one of those moments where it's like, oh my gosh, I see myself in these like kids who are just excited to be here. Like my first ever convention was a very small Comic-Con, and there wasn't like a ton to do, but my friends and I were just stoked beyond belief to just be there in that space and seeing like other people dressed up who have been doing it for like longer than us, being like, oh my gosh, like this is what is possible. Obviously that was really great to see. The cosplay contest was very chill. I'm pretty sure like everyone who applied did so on a whim. So it was very like low stakes, low pressure, and just like really chill. Like kids were just coming up with their friends and being like, oh, can we enter? Like, what do? We want to be in the contest. And you had like parents coming up being like, oh, like, can my child sign up for the contest? Like, let me write out their little submission, and like, you know, asking them like, oh, do you want to like do a walk-on? Do you want to do a skit? And it was so refreshing. It was so refreshing to see it just be the play in cosplay. Cosplay in its most purest form, I felt like I was witnessing, which was so beautiful. The other highlight was like these kind of preteen, young teenagers, this group of them. A few of them came up to the table and asked if they could do a skit together. And then throughout the day, they would meet and become friends with other kids dressed as Demon Slayer characters. And so they would come back to the table every so often to ask Amy if they could add this extra person to their group, to the point where they had like this huge group of Demon Slayer cosplayers, all just like super stoked to be there, instant friendship, like stoked to have people around them that share their interests. And I was like, this is the point. And then they were like, okay, we have to come up with a skit. So in the corner next to where our table was, there's like a pillar, and then on the other side of the pillar, they were all hanging out together, planning their skit. They were putting effort, they were putting thought into this. Like it wasn't just kind of like a slap together skit, even though it was like impromptu on the day they're coming up with the skit. They put in effort and teamwork. I know this is sounding so cheesy, like effort and teamwork, but like that's what it was. Like they were putting this skit together thoughtfully with what they had available, and like wanted to make it as good as possible. I am not exaggerating when I said like I almost cried multiple times, like overhearing them at the end of the convention when like the moms were like, okay, everybody, like get together, let's get a photo of everybody in their costumes, like you did so well, you know, performing your skit. Like I wanted to cry because I remember the days of my mom being super proud of my little cosplays when I was younger, and she was like the ultimate cosplay mom. It's just such a beautiful thing. And obviously I don't have my mom anymore, so to see like other moms and parents be like so supportive and just so stoked about their kids like doing this, and then seeing the kids just stoked to be in that space. That's it. And I feel like cosplay at its core, that's what it's about. Prejudging. Not everyone was prejudged because some people were doing skits. So while they were prejudging the people that needed to be prejudged, they had all these kids in the lobby, the foyer outside of the ballroom, which was where the stage area was, which was where the contest would take place. I'm just chilling out making bracelets, and a few of them see me making bracelets, and they come up and they're like, oh, like, how much are you selling these for? And I'm like, oh, you can just have one. And I had a few pre-made just kind of based on what I was seeing. So I had like a bunch of Demon Slayer ones. So you have like the character color palette and then their name spelt out in the beads. Yeah, so the kids were seeing this and they were like, oh, like how much are they? And I'm like, you can just have one. And if there isn't one there that like, because there weren't very many pre-made ones, if there's one that doesn't match your character, I will just make you one. And they're like, for free? And I'm like, yeah, this is just for fun. This is just for funsies. So the first group that had come up to me was this group of boys, and they were all dressed as Demon Slayer characters, of course, because that was the series of the day. Like, so many people were cosplaying Demon Slayer. It was really cute. So two of them asked for bracelets that like match their cosplays, but the Zenitsu was like, oh, can you make a Nezuko one? Because my friend who's cosplaying Nezuko, like, I bought her like a sticker earlier today, and I really want to also give her a bracelet. I think that would be really nice. And I'm like, I could totally do that, but like, would you also like a Zenitsu one? And he's like, no, I just really want to give one to my friend who's Nezuko. And I was just like, that's so sweet. That's so thoughtful, right? And so I had a rapport, while I was making these bracelets. I was like, does this color palette look good? Or instead of this, shade of green, we can do this shade of green. Or instead of using like this particular pink bead, I can use this pink bead to kind of like give it some more dimension, right? Made it a very interactive experience. And so he like very thoughtfully like chose the color palette, because like I kind of put like I roughed together Nezuko's color palette, and then we kind of like, I prefer this bead, and made this bracelet to give to his friend who was Nezuko. And then, the other two, I was able to be like, oh, like for the Tanjiro bracelet, do you want the light green, the dark green? Do you want both? And it was like that for every interaction. And then a little line started to form. So I got to be making these bracelets for these young cosplayers while they waited to go on stage. And they were all super kind, super appreciative. Like, they were so well mannered. I was so impressed. Heartwarming is the word. Heartwarming is the word. And then while I'm making the bracelets, I look like I'm associated with the cosplay contest because I'm at this table next to where they're doing the prejudging, and I have all my stuff set up. And so they're asking me questions about the cosplay contest. I'm like, oh, well, I'm just here vibing. Like, my friend is the judge. If you have any like specific questions about like how this contest is going to be run, you're going to have to ask her. But I was able to answer questions that they had about like, what is a walk-on? How do you do a walk-on? I really wish that like there was more opportunity for this kind of thing like at other conventions. Maybe like we can plant the seed here and like make that a thing to have kind of like the cosplay teacher role, because it was such an amazing opportunity to just be like, oh yeah, like this is what a walk-on is. Then kids were asking like, how should I pose? And I'm like, well, let me teach you like some cool like little stock poses. I'm asking them questions about their characters. I'm trying to find poses that like will work. And I just like, it was, sorry. Am I gonna cry on, no, my makeup looks amazing. I can't do this. Sorry. It was such a profoundly heartwarming and important experience for me to see this kind of energy and be reminded of my roots and get to encourage this like next generation of cosplayers. Like, yeah, just have fun. This is what a walk-on is. And they're asking like, hey, I'm kind of nervous, like what do I expect? And I'm like, this is so like, don't worry, this is all for fun. The stakes are low, like do not even worry about it. Just go out there and have fun, show off your outfit, like have a good time, just enjoy being here, right? And that was exactly like the energy that everybody had. It was a profound experience, and it truly did feel like the Christmas movie of like, we've remembered, the spirit of cosplay, the true meaning of cosplay, and that's what it was in its absolute purest form. So I really wanted to share that. And even like one of the kids came up to me later on and was like, do you have a YouTube channel? And I'm like, yes, I do. And they're like, are you Anya Panda? And I'm like, yes, I am. And had seen my videos. So it was a very beautiful experience. And that is the first story that I wanted to share with you guys today. Our second story that I might get emotional while I talk about was from Papa Panami, which was this really great one-day convention at UBC in Vancouver. It was really well run. They had like, do I still have it? They had actual like plastic proper badges and gave you free lanyards. I can't express to you how rare that is for a one-day convention. They usually just give you like a little wristband, like a paper wristband, and that's what you wear for the day. But like they went through the effort of like having these really nice, anyway, so I was stoked. And I don't know, that really just sets the scene of like how beautifully and like lovingly run this convention was. I was very impressed. I personally had like some fun health issues that day, so I didn't get to fully experience the con as I had wanted to, but what I did experience was very nice. One thing that I did cry over later, I will be so real. Obviously, I went in cosplay. I cosplayed Ragatha because, like, since when do I not cosplay Ragatha? I thought it would be fun because I have tremendous nostalgia around the UBC campus. If you don't know, the UBC campus, it's a big university campus, so there's lots of diverse places to take photos, and back in the day it used to house some of the biggest conventions in the Vancouver area, most notably Anime Evolution. Anime Evolution today is so much smaller than it used to be. Like, it used to be one of the biggest conventions in Canada. There would be like tens of thousands of people there. It was a huge scale convention, and unfortunately things did happen and they've been trying to build back up, but it's not quite the same as it used to be, which is unfortunate because they would rent out multiple buildings across the campus. This was during the late 2000s, and it was just like such an amazing sight to behold. But then since then, there were smaller events, but still like very large scale. Honestly, some of the best events in Vancouver that I can think back to. There was Cause and Effect, which was probably one of my most favorite conventions ever, and Northwest Fan Fest. These were all ones that took place during the 2010s while I was in high school. So each summer, it would be this big thing where my parents and I would travel to Vancouver, and I'd have my 3 new cosplays that my mom would help me make. It wasn't always 3 new cosplays, but I would have 3 big cosplays because like this was like the big convention of the year. You know, all these cosplays that I was super excited about, and we would go to Vancouver and we'd have like a lovely time visiting Vancouver, but then during the convention, they'd drive me out to UBC. I'd hang out with my friends all day, have an amazing time, make all these incredible memories, and that would be like the big summer trip, the big summer like cosplay event. Obviously, that doesn't happen anymore. Pop-Up Hanami has only been going for like a couple of years now, and that's the only convention that currently resides at UBC. So cosplaying at UBC, whenever I go back, the nostalgia just absolutely hits me. I thought initially that this would be funny. This would be kind of like a funny little meme to like recreate a bunch of the photos that I have from over the years at those UBC conventions from when I was a kid and recreate them now as Ragatha, just kind of show like the evolution of not only like the location, which honestly a lot of the locations look pretty much the same. Like the one fountain that I posed on as Pit back in the day, that place has been completely overhauled, but like you can still stand at around the same place. But like a lot of there's been very little change, but there's been a lot of change in like me. And I think I made a little reel where I compared all of the photos and I put this like really sentimental song, and it hit me because I think the biggest thing looking back was there's the happy things of like, look how far you've come in terms of like being an artist and getting to create cosplays and come into your own, and you know, the evolution of like your skills and everything. But there's also like the evolution of me, because like I feel like I've only just recently become a proper person since getting an ADHD diagnosis and being able to like focus on my health. I would be in a completely different place if I didn't have all these health issues like holding me back than I actually am. But getting an ADHD diagnosis and getting to get on meds for them has been a huge, huge difference. It's made me able to like accomplish so much more things. Like it's not 100%, but we are well on the way. And so looking back at like, you know, where I was as a teenager, like no diagnoses for any of my multiple neurodivergent things going on, versus now where I'm finally kind of feeling like I'm becoming who that younger version of myself wanted to be, was crazy. But also there's also just the aspect of like back then I had both my parents. I had my mom who was super involved in my cosplay stuff and super proud of my cosplay stuff, and she doesn't get to see, you know, the evolution. She doesn't get to see this version. She doesn't get to see that. And just the fact that like, you know, the little girl in those original photos, she doesn't know what's coming because like there's going to be the loss of my mom. There's going to be all these years lost to just like depression, a lot of heavy stuff. She's so happy in these photos and doesn't know what's going to come in between, but she is going to get to the current point that, you know, the current me is at in those photos. So there's layers to those. And so what started out as like this happy, like, oh haha, I'm gonna like, you know, recreate me holding my scythe, but I'm gonna be holding Pomni because I have my Pomni plush with me and that's my prop for the day. But then also like, you know, in Soul Eater, Maka and Soul are a ship, and then I ship Ragapom, so it's like, haha, if Ragatha was Maka, Pomni could be her scythe. There's that aspect, but then there's also just like the deeper stuff that hit me much later, like, because, you know, in the moment it's like, haha, like, look, the fountain doesn't exist anymore, I have to pose like this is funny, ha ha ha. And then, you know, you look at them, especially after putting a reel to like reflective, like sentimental music, like I was bawling my eyes out editing that. This took a turn, I'm sorry. The true meaning of cosplay was the one universal constant I had through all those things, and it was the one thing I had to look forward to, even through the depression of, you know, not physically being able to get out of bed and not knowing if I would ever have serotonin in my brain again. Like, the one little thing that I had was like, well, you have your comfort series and you'll eventually be able to make a new cosplay when you come out of this and you have the energy and you can look forward to that. I think that's really the power of art, honestly. So like, yeah, all these phases from like, you know, age 14 to age 30, no matter how sad you are, at least you have this creative outlet to kind of nurture yourself and nurture your creativity and all that stuff. So yeah, that was story number 2. I'm sorry, that got heavy. Ooh, I'm holding it together. I'm very impressed with how much I've been able to hold it together. The last one that I wanted to end on was from Emerald City Comic Con last year. If you saw my vlog, basically over the past few years, I've gone through a lot of body changes. This happens when you hit your late 20s and early 30s. It's just a natural thing that I feel like it just isn't talked about. Like, I'll post old photos versus new photos and people will be like, oh, what happened? Like, you gained weight, what happened? And it's like, I aged. I don't know what to tell you. Bodies change as we, like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but bodies change naturally over time. And that is not necessarily always an indication of how healthy or unhealthy you are. So people get weird about that. And I learned that, boy, is the cosplay community like not good about that stuff at all whatsoever. Like, you know, it's a thing, but you don't realize how blatant it is. So Emerald City Comic Con was the first convention that I went to where this like really hit me. I don't want to go like too in depth, but basically I had a lot of interactions that weekend that made me feel very small and made me feel like I was less worthy or somehow less valuable than I was previous to gaining that weight. And it caused me to like go back to the hotel room and just like have an emotional breakdown. I'm calling my friends and, you know, telling them what was going on and, you know, all that. And so eventually, I was cosplaying my namesake from Mouthwashing. Love her. Mouthwashing was like the hyperfixation for me of 2025. I still love the game. Oh my gosh, it is a masterpiece. I think we moved on from Mouthwashing way too fast. Like, that is such an amazing game, but also just such an important and very powerful message, especially in today's climate. I could praise Mouthwashing all day. That's not what this video is about. But anyway, it's what I was most into. And so I really wanted to interact with other cosplayers. After the con experience that I had and just like not feeling great, I was sitting just kind of like having a quiet time. There's like escalators and then they're all just like these big steps that you're meant to sit on. And then there's like staircases next to them. So you can like walk up, sit on one of these like big steps and just kind of like have a moment, kind of like disassociating, trying to hype myself up. And I notice right down there in front of me is this group of Mouthwashing cosplayers, and I audibly gasped. I was so stoked, but I was terrified to go and say hi. It felt exactly like when you're a kid and you see like kids playing a fun game on the playground. You're like, I want to join in. I want to say hi. Like, they seem really cool, but I'm too shy. Like, that's exactly what that felt like. I eventually like slowly make my way down the stairs. I'm trying to hype myself up to like talk to these people. But then a couple friends come by and like start talking to me. I'm chatting with them. And then eventually one of the cosplayers from the Mouthwashing group, who was cosplaying the same character as me, she comes up and she like compliments my cosplay, and I compliment her back, and I'm like, I've been trying to hype myself up to like say hi. I'm just feeling really shy today, but like, you guys as cosplays look really awesome. I'm so stoked to see other Mouthwashing people. Like, I really wanted to say hi. You guys look awesome. And she's like, oh yeah, okay, well, do you want to come with us? And it was just like that playground experience of like, oh, well, like, come play dodgeball with us. Everyone was like super stoked to meet one another. I learned that like some people in the group had seen some of my cosplay photos previously because I was like, oh yeah, like I cosplay this character a lot. I did, a bathtub shoot. And they interject and they're like, oh yeah, no, we saw that on Instagram. We also saw your techwear version of her. Like that was cool. And I was like, oh my God, hello. Oh, and that's just like an interaction that I hold very dear. All the people in that group, by the way, awesome people. Like we've stayed in touch and they're all just like so cool and so talented and just genuinely like so fun to talk to. So I'm so grateful that I got to meet all of them. The true meaning of cosplay, like that's what it is, right? It's just like not judging, like just being stoked that there's someone who shares your passion for a character or a piece of media or crafting, the art form and just like bonding over that. I feel like that is just like one of the most pure and like genuine interactions is when you bond over a shared interest for something and you're just like stoked. During that weekend, that was exactly what I had needed. And it is, again, something that I hold very dear and will always be so appreciative for. Those are my 3 very unexpectedly emotional, but I think very heartwarming and sentimental stories about cosplay. The true meaning of cosplay. We should make a movie. We should make like a romantic comedy or like some sort of like cheesy movie about like, oh, remembering the true meaning of cosplay. Anyway, obviously cosplay means different things for different people, but at its core, it's cosplay. It's an art form. It's a form of expression. And I feel like it's very easy to lose sight of that. And so experiences like these are very grounding and very like, yeah, that is why I'm doing that. Thank you so much for watching this. I'm sorry it got a little, it got pretty emotional there, but I hope despite that you still enjoyed. Maybe you watched this while you were crafting. Maybe you're having a meal. Could I be your meal time YouTube video? I would be honored. But either way, no matter what, I really appreciate you watching. I'm trying to get back onto a regular schedule. So I will hopefully see you guys all very soon. But until then, Panda Faces, please be sure to take care.